Lesson 1: Navigating Tricky Business Contracts.
Morning, Anna. I was hoping to get your advice on something.
Hello, John. What's on your mind? I'm happy to help if I can.
Well, I'm in the midst of negotiating a new business contract, and I'm feeling a bit out of my element.
I see. Business contracts can certainly be tricky to navigate. What's got you stumped?
It's the communication aspect, mainly. I want to make sure I'm being clear and thorough, but I don't want to come across as overly aggressive.
That's a common challenge. The key is finding the right balance between assertiveness and diplomacy.
Exactly. Any tips you can share on striking that balance?
Well, one thing I've found helpful is to really focus on active listening. Make sure you fully understand their perspective before responding.
That's a good point. I tend to get caught up in pushing my own agenda sometimes.
I know the feeling. But taking the time to truly hear them out can go a long way in finding common ground.
That makes sense. And what about when it comes to the actual negotiation process?
Be prepared, of course, but also stay flexible. Don't get too attached to a single outcome.
That's a wise approach. I'll have to keep that in mind.
Exactly. Maintain a collaborative spirit, and you're more likely to reach a mutually beneficial agreement.
Excellent advice, Anna. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your insights.
Happy to help, John. Navigating business contracts can be tricky, but with the right mindset, it can be a productive process.
Definitely. I feel much more equipped to handle this contract now, thanks to you.
I'm glad I could provide some useful tips. Let me know how it goes, alright?
Will do. I'll be sure to keep you posted. Thanks again, Anna.
Lesson 2: A Toast to Cultural Exchange.
Evening, Anna. Care to join me for a glass of wine?
Lovely idea, John. I'd be delighted.
Excellent. I found this wonderful local vintage I've been wanting to try.
Ooh, intriguing. I'm always eager to explore new wines, especially local ones.
Same here. I find it such a great way to learn about a region's culture.
Absolutely. The terroir and winemaking traditions really come through in the flavors.
Precisely. Here, let me pour you a glass. I think you'll enjoy this one.
Thank you. Takes a sip. This is lovely. I'm getting notes of berry and a subtle oakiness.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm picking up on as well. The balance is just perfect.
It really is. The winemaker has clearly put a lot of care and attention into this.
Agreed. It makes me appreciate the history and artistry that goes into viticulture.
Definitely. It's like exploring a whole world in a single glass.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Raises glass to cultural discovery through wine.
Clinks glasses. I'll gladly drink to that, John. Cheers.
Cheers, Anna. This has been a true delight.
Lesson 3: The Inspiring Journey of Terry Fox.
Morning, Anna. Did you catch the news about Terry Fox?
Yes, I did. What an incredible story of courage and determination.
Absolutely. His cross-Canada run for cancer research was truly awe-inspiring.
It really was. The way he persevered in the face of such adversity is truly remarkable.
Definitely. He's become such an iconic figure, not just in Canada, but around the world.
Definitely. His legacy has made a lasting impression on so many people.
Absolutely. He's become a symbol of hope and resilience for those facing challenges.
Exactly. His story is a powerful reminder that anything is possible with enough determination.
Couldn't agree more. The fact that he was able to run over 5,000 kilometers on a prosthetic leg is just mind-boggling.
I know. It's incredible to think about the physical and mental strength he must have possessed.
Definitely. He's truly an inspiration for anyone striving to overcome obstacles.
Absolutely. I hope his story continues to motivate and uplift people for generations to come.
Agreed. Terry Fox's legacy will undoubtedly live on as a shining example of the human spirit.
Lesson 4: Chasing Waterfalls.
Afternoon, Anna. Remember our trip to see the waterfalls last weekend?
Of course. That was such an amazing experience. The falls were simply breathtaking.
Absolutely. The sheer power and beauty of the cascading water was truly humbling.
Definitely. And the spray drifting high into the air added such a magical element to it.
Exactly. It felt like we were enveloped in this misty, ethereal atmosphere.
Definitely. It was almost like the falls were putting on a mesmerizing natural performance.
Couldn't have said it better. The roar of the water was just awe-inspiring.
Indeed. It was like a symphony of nature, with the thundering falls as the crescendo.
Precisely. And the hike leading up to the viewpoint was so peaceful and invigorating.
Absolutely. The chance to be surrounded by that lush, verdant landscape was rejuvenating.
Definitely. It was the perfect way to work up an appetite before exploring the local cuisine.
Definitely. That post-hike meal at the Riverside restaurant was the perfect end to the day.
Couldn't agree more. The flavors were the perfect complement to the natural wonder we'd just witnessed.
Definitely. It was just a magical, unforgettable experience all around.
Agreed. I can't wait to plan our next adventure to explore more of nature's stunning creations.
Lesson 5: Exploring the charming neighborhood.
Afternoon, Anna. Have you had a chance to check out that new neighborhood we were talking about?
Yes, I did. I went for a walk there earlier today, and it was absolutely delightful.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. What did you think of the overall vibe of the area?
It had such a wonderful, welcoming atmosphere. The streets were so quaint and picturesque.
Fantastic. And was it easy to navigate on foot? I know walkability was one of the main draws.
Definitely. The sidewalks were well maintained and there were plenty of crosswalks.
Excellent. And did you feel safe strolling around, even in the quieter parts of the neighborhood?
Absolutely. The area had a very safe and secure feel to it, which I really appreciated.
That's wonderful to hear. Safety is always a top priority, especially in a new place.
Definitely. And the residents I encountered were all so friendly and helpful as well.
That's fantastic. A sense of community is so important in a thriving neighborhood.
Absolutely. I got the impression that it's a place where people really look out for one another.
That's wonderful to hear. It sounds like the perfect spot to explore and get to know.
Definitely. I can't wait to go back and discover more of the hidden gems in the area.
Excellent. I'm sure there are plenty of local businesses, parks, and other gems to uncover.
Lesson 6: Navigating the local postal system.
Afternoon, Anna. I wanted to ask you something. Do you happen to know where the nearest mailbox is around here?
Ah, yes, I've seen a few mailboxes in the area. Let me think. I believe there's one just a couple blocks down on Main Street.
Wonderful, that's super helpful. I'd like to mail a postcard to my family back home. Do you know if the mailbox is accessible 24/7?
I'm fairly certain it is. The neighborhood seems to have a good network of public mailboxes available at all hours.
Excellent, that's just what I was hoping to hear. And do you happen to know the latest collection times for the mailbox?
Unfortunately, I don't have the exact schedule, but I'd imagine it's collected several times throughout the day. Probably your best bet is to check for the posted collection times on the mailbox itself.
Good call, I'll make sure to take a look. And in terms of postage, is there a post office or stamp vendor nearby where I can purchase stamps?
Yes, absolutely. There's a small post office, just a few blocks down the road. I'm sure they'd be able to provide you with all the stamps and supplies you need.
Perfect, That's exactly what I was hoping to find. I really appreciate you taking the time to provide all these helpful details.
Of course, I'm happy I could assist. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help with your postcard mailing.
Will do, thanks again. I'm going to head over there now and get this postcard sent off.
Lesson 7, Discussing Current Events.
Morning, Anna. I caught the news this morning and it had me a bit concerned. Have you been following the reports about the potential for unchecked influence of the military-industrial complex?
Ah, yes, that's been a topic of much debate and controversy lately. It's a complex issue without any easy answers.
Absolutely, it seems like there's potential for some really unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought. Do you have any thoughts on how this might play out?
Well, from what I've read, there are worries that the close ties between the defense industry and political decision makers could lead to decisions being made more for profit than for the public good.
That's a really good point. It's a slippery slope when private interests start exerting too much sway over matters of national security and defense policy.
Exactly. And the sheer size and economic power of the military-industrial complex makes it a formidable force that's difficult to rein in or hold accountable.
I'm concerned about the potential for the disastrous consequences if this influence goes unchecked. It could have huge ramifications for our society.
Definitely, it's a real threat to democratic principles and the public's best interests. It's an issue that deserves a lot more scrutiny and oversight.
I agree completely. It's a concerning trend that I think we all need to be more aware of and vocal about addressing.
Absolutely. These are the kinds of challenges we have to grapple with if we want to maintain a healthy, functioning democracy.
Well said. I'm grateful we could discuss this important topic, it's definitely given me a lot to think about.
Lesson 8, Finding the Perfect Relaxation Spot.
Hey Anna, I've been feeling a bit stressed lately and I'm in search of the most comfortable place to just unwind and relax. Do you have any suggestions?
That's a great question. Have you ever considered trying out an airport lounge? I've heard they can be surprisingly tranquil.
An airport lounge, huh? I wouldn't have thought of that. What makes you think that would be a good option?
Well, the airport lounges I've been to tend to be pretty quiet and serene, especially compared to the hustle and bustle of the main terminal. Plus, they often have comfy furniture and amenities to help you relax.
That's an interesting idea. I'll have to look into that. Though I have to admit, the thought of an airport as a relaxation spot seems a bit counterintuitive to me.
I know, it does seem a bit unconventional. But sometimes the most unexpected places can end up being the most soothing and restorative.
Fair point. Maybe I'll give it a try next time I'm traveling. Though I'm also curious if you have any other suggestions for good relaxation spots.
Let me think. Have you ever tried a botanical garden or an art museum? Those can be wonderfully calming environments.
Ooh, a botanical garden does sound lovely. The combination of beautiful nature and tranquility could be just what I need.
Exactly. And an art museum can be so meditative, wandering through the galleries, getting lost in the artwork.
I like the sound of that. I'll have to make a list and start trying out some of these options. Thanks for the great recommendations, Anna.
Lesson 9, Talking about business trips.
Excuse me, Anna, have you ever been on a business trip before?
Why, yes, I have. I've traveled quite a bit for work-related meetings and conferences over the years.
Oh, really? That's interesting. What have been some of your experiences with business travel?
Well, it can be both exciting and exhausting. On the one hand, I get to visit new places and meet interesting people. But on the other, the long flights, tight schedules, and constant networking can be quite draining.
I can imagine. What are some of the challenges you faced during your business trips?
One thing that can be tricky is trying to maintain a healthy routine while on the road. It's easy to fall into the habit of eating unhealthy meals and skimping on sleep.
Ah, yes, that makes sense. Staying productive and energized must be tough when you're always on the move.
Absolutely. And then there are the logistical headaches, like coordinating transportation and accommodations in unfamiliar cities.
Oof, yes, I can see how that would add a lot of stress to an already hectic schedule. Do you have any tips for making business travel easier?
A few things that have helped me: packing light, planning ahead as much as possible, and building in some downtime to recharge. It also really helps to have a supportive team back home.
Those sound like great strategies. I'll have to keep those in mind if I ever find myself going on a business trip.
Definitely. And don't forget to treat yourself occasionally, like grabbing a nice meal or exploring the local sites. That can make all the difference.
Ooh, good point. A little personal time and indulgence can go a long way. Thanks for the helpful insights, Anna. I feel more prepared for the realities of business travel now.
Lesson 10, Discussing breathtaking landscapes.
Excuse me, Anna, have you ever been to any truly breathtaking landscapes?
Why, yes, I have. In fact, just last year I went on a hike through the Swiss Alps, and the scenery was absolutely stunning.
The Swiss Alps, huh? That must have been an incredible experience. What was it like?
It was truly unforgettable. The towering peaks, the crystal clear lakes, the lush green meadows, it was like stepping into a postcard.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I've always wanted to visit the Alps, but I've never had the chance. What were some of the highlights for you?
Well, the hike up to Eskinen Lake was definitely a highlight. The turquoise water and the dramatic cliffs surrounding it were just breathtaking.
I can only imagine. That must have been like something out of a dream.
It really was. And the sense of accomplishment after making it to the top was just incredible.
I bet. Hiking in those kinds of landscapes must be both physically and mentally challenging.
Absolutely. But it's so rewarding. The views just make you feel so small and insignificant in the grand scheme of things, yet so connected to the natural world.
I can see why it would be such an unforgettable adventure. Did you have any other memorable moments from your trip?
Oh, absolutely. The sunrise over the Matterhorn was simply spectacular. I'll never forget that sight as long as I live.
Ah, the Matterhorn, one of the world's most iconic mountains. I can only imagine how awe-inspiring it must have been to witness that.
It was a true privilege. I feel so lucky to have had the chance to experience that kind of natural beauty firsthand.
Well, you've certainly piqued my interest in visiting the Swiss Alps. It sounds like an unbelievable trip.
It really was. I highly recommend it to anyone who loves the outdoors and stunning landscapes. It's an adventure you'll never forget.
I'll definitely have to put it on my bucket list. Thanks for sharing your experience, Anna. It sounds like a breathtaking journey.
Lesson 11, Musical Talents.
Hey Anna, I heard you're quite the talented musician. Is that true?
Why, yes, it is. I've been playing the piano since I was a little girl.
Wow, that's impressive. I always wished I could play an instrument, but I never had much of a knack for it.
Oh, I'm sure you have hidden musical talents you haven't discovered yet. Everyone has the potential to be good at creating music.
You really think so? I know next to nothing about music, to be honest.
Well, you'd be surprised. Even if you don't know much, with the right guidance and practice, you could go on to be very good at it.
You make a compelling argument. What made you first decide to learn the piano?
Well, my parents always encouraged me to explore the arts, and the piano just seemed to click with me from the very beginning.
That's really nice that your parents supported your musical interests. Not everyone is that fortunate.
Absolutely. I feel very lucky to have had that kind of encouragement growing up. It really made a difference.
I can imagine. So, what's your favorite part about playing the piano?
Oh, that's easy, the sheer joy of creating music. There's something so magical about being able to take a piece of sheet music and bring it to life through your own interpretation.
I can see the appeal. It must be a very rewarding feeling.
It truly is. And the more you play, the more you discover new depths and nuances in the music.
That's fascinating. I never really thought about it that way before.
Well, maybe I can inspire you to give it a try sometime. Who knows, you might just surprise yourself.
That's not a bad idea. I may have to look into piano lessons after all.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I'd be more than happy to help you get started, if you'd like.
I appreciate that, Anna. This has been a really interesting conversation. You've definitely piqued my curiosity about music.
I'm so glad to hear that. Music has the power to enrich our lives in so many ways. I look forward to seeing where your musical journey takes you.
Me too. Thanks for the inspiration. I can't wait to discover my hidden talents.
Lesson 12, Opera Dreams.
Morning, Anna. I've been meaning to talk to you about something.
Oh? What's on your mind, John?
Well, you know I've always had a passion for opera, right?
Yes, I'm aware of your love for the art form. What about it?
I've actually been toying with the idea of starting my own opera company.
Wow, that's quite an ambitious goal. Have you given it much thought?
I have, actually. I even tried to get something off the ground a while back, but it didn't work out.
I see. What happened? If you don't mind me asking.
It's a bit of a long story, but the short version is that I lost a lot of money trying to make it happen.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. That must have been a real setback.
It was, but I haven't given up on the dream entirely. I think I just need to approach it differently this time.
Well, that's admirable that you're not letting it discourage you. What do you plan to do differently?
Well, for starters, I'm going to be more strategic in my planning and fundraising efforts.
That sounds like a wise approach. Careful planning and financial management are key for any ambitious venture.
Exactly. And I'm also going to try to build a stronger network of supporters and partners within the opera community.
That's a great idea. Having the right team and connections can make all the difference.
Absolutely. I'm feeling more optimistic about it now than I was before.
I'm glad to hear that, John. I admire your passion and determination. I hope you're able to make your opera dreams a reality this time.
Me too, Anna. Thanks for listening and for the encouragement. It really means a lot.
Of course, I'm always happy to lend an ear and offer my support. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
I'll definitely keep that in mind. Who knows, maybe you'll even end up being a patron of the opera one day.
Haha, well, you never know. I'll have to start saving up my pennies.
I appreciate the thought, Anna. In the meantime, I've got some serious planning to do.
Sounds good. Wishing you all the best with your opera endeavors, John.
Thanks, Anna. I'll be sure to keep you posted on my progress.
Lesson 13, Overcoming Adversity.
Afternoon, Anna. I wanted to talk to you about something that's been on my mind.
sure, John, I'm all ears. What's up?
It's about the challenges I've faced in life, the ones that stem from where I come from and the circumstances I was born into.
Ah, I see. Those kinds of obstacles can be really tough to overcome.
Exactly. Sometimes it feels like the deck is just stacked against me. The schools in my neighborhood are failing, and there's all this hidden prejudice I have to deal with.
That must be so frustrating. It's not fair that you have to work twice as hard just to get the same opportunities.
Tell me about it. But I'm not giving up. I'm determined to rise above all of that.
That's really admirable, John. It takes a lot of strength and resilience to push through those kinds of challenges.
It does, but I'm not alone. I've got people in my life, like you, who believe in me and support me.
Well, I'm always here for you, John. I admire your determination to overcome the odds.
And that means the world to me, Anna. Sometimes our differences run so deep, but at the end of the day, we're all in this together.
Absolutely. We may come from different backgrounds, but we're united in our common humanity.
Exactly. And that's what keeps me going, even on the toughest days.
I'm glad to hear that, John. You've got a great attitude, and I know you're going to do amazing things.
Thanks, Anna. I really appreciate your encouragement and understanding.
Of course, John. Anytime you need a listening ear or a friendly face, I'll be here.
I'll definitely take you up on that. Now, let's talk about something a little lighter, shall we?
Lesson 14, a helpful complaint.
Hey, Anna, I wanted to talk to you about something that happened at the doctor's office the other day.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, you know how I had that appointment to get my prescription refilled?
Yeah, what about it?
The whole process was just a nightmare. The receptionist was so rude and unhelpful.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. What did you do?
I ended up having to complain to the manager. I just couldn't let them get away with that kind of service.
Properly, that sounds scary. Did you complain right then and there?
Yes, I told the receptionist that her attitude was unacceptable and that I wanted to speak to the manager.
Wow, good for you, John. It's important to stand up for yourself when you're not being treated properly.
Exactly. I wasn't about to just let it slide. I deserved better than that.
So, what happened when you talked to the manager?
Well, the manager was actually really understanding. She apologized profusely and assured me it wouldn't happen again.
That's great that the manager took it seriously and addressed the issue. Did you end up getting your prescription refilled okay?
Yeah, once I spoke to the manager, the whole process went much more smoothly. They really went the extra mile to make it right.
I'm glad to hear that, John. It's always nice when a company is willing to listen and make things right.
Absolutely. It just goes to show that it's worth speaking up when you're not satisfied with the service.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing that story, John. It's a good reminder that we shouldn't be afraid to voice our concerns.
Anytime, Anna. I'm just glad I was able to turn a negative experience into a positive one.
Lesson 15, Staying Ahead of the Curve.
Morning, Anna. I wanted to get your thoughts on something I've been thinking about.
Sure, John, what's on your mind?
Well, I've been keeping an eye on some market trends lately, and I wanted to see if you think we should adjust our pricing strategy.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. What kind of trends have you been noticing?
Well, I've seen some of our competitors start to lower their prices, and I'm wondering if we should consider doing the same to stay competitive.
That's a tricky one. What other pricing considerations should we be monitoring?
Good question. I've also been looking at things like changes in raw material costs, shipping expenses, and even customer demand.
Okay, that's a lot to take into account. Any other factors we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, one thing I've been wondering about is whether we should offer any promotional discounts or bundle deals to attract more customers.
That's a good point. Those kinds of incentives can definitely help drive sales, but we'd need to be careful not to undercut ourselves.
Exactly. We don't want to sacrifice our profitability just to match the competition.
Right. Perhaps we could explore some creative pricing strategies that allow us to stay competitive without compromising our margins.
That's a great idea. I'll put together a more detailed analysis and we can discuss it further at our next meeting.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to digging into the data and seeing what opportunities might be out there.
Awesome. Thanks for your input, Anna. It's always helpful to get a fresh perspective on these kinds of decisions.
Lesson 16, Perfecting the Guest Experience.
Hey Anna, I wanted to get your thoughts on something related to our hotel's amenities.
Oh, sure. What did you have in mind?
Well, I've been thinking about the bathroom amenities we provide for our guests. Do you think we're offering the right mix of products?
That's a great question. What kind of feedback have we been getting from guests on that front?
Well, I've noticed a few comments about the quality and selection of the toiletries we have in the rooms.
Okay. What kind of products are we currently offering?
Let's see, we have the basic shampoo, conditioner, and body wash, as well as some hand soap and lotion.
Alright, and what have the guests been saying about that?
Some have mentioned that they'd like to see a few more high-end or luxury items, like maybe some bath salts or a fancy bar of soap.
I see. That's an interesting suggestion. Do you think that would be worth the investment?
Well, I'm wondering if upgrading the bathroom amenities could be a way to really wow our guests and set us apart from the competition.
Good point. Enhancing the guest experience is always a top priority. What do you think would be the best way to approach this?
I was thinking we could do a small pilot program, maybe try out a few different sets of premium products in select rooms and see how the feedback is.
That sounds like a smart way to test the waters. We could even get some guest feedback directly to help guide our decision.
Exactly. I'll put together a proposal and we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Sounds good. I'm excited to see how we can elevate the bathroom experience for our guests.
Me too. Thanks for your input, Anna. I think this could be a really great opportunity for us.
Lesson 17, Navigating the Lost and Found.
Morning, Anna. I wanted to get your thoughts on our hotel's lost and found process.
Oh, that's an interesting topic. What exactly did you want to discuss?
Well, I've been hearing some mixed feedback from guests about how we handle lost items.
I see. What kind of issues have you been hearing about?
A few guests have mentioned that the process seems a bit confusing or inefficient.
That's not ideal. What do you think might be causing those perceptions?
I'm not entirely sure. Maybe the way we communicate the steps to guests or the actual procedures we have in place.
That's a good point. Clarity and efficiency are crucial when it comes to something as important as lost items.
Exactly. I was wondering if we could take a closer look at the whole lost and found system.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. What kind of improvements do you have in mind?
Well, I was thinking we could streamline the reporting process, maybe make it easier for guests to submit claims.
That's a smart suggestion. And what about the actual storage and retrieval of lost items?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could improve the organization and tracking of everything in the lost and found.
Definitely. Having a well-structured system there would go a long way in providing a better guest experience.
Agreed. I think tackling this could really enhance our overall guest service.
I'm with you on that. Why don't you put together a proposal outlining some potential improvements?
Will do. I'll gather some more feedback from guests and come up with some ideas.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to seeing how we can optimize the lost and found process.
Me too. Thanks for your input, Anna. This is an important area we need to get right.
Lesson 18, The Spring of 1813.
Hey Anna, did you catch that bit about the spring of 1813 in our history lesson today?
Ah, yes, the events of that time period were quite fascinating.
Definitely. From what I understand, the whole province seemed likely to fall into American hands back then.
That's right. It was a really pivotal moment in the conflict between Britain and the United States.
Exactly. The American forces were really making significant advances into the region.
Absolutely. They were pushing hard to try and gain control of strategic locations.
And if I remember correctly, the British forces were struggling to mount an effective defense at that point.
They were really on the back foot and needed to come up with a solid counter strategy.
Do you know what ultimately turned the tide in the British favor during that spring?
If I'm not mistaken, it was the arrival of reinforcements from Europe that helped stabilize the situation.
Ah, yes, that's right. The additional British troops were crucial in holding back the American push.
Indeed. It was a real race against time to shore up the defenses before the province was lost.
Absolutely. The stakes were incredibly high in those final months of 1813.
Definitely. It's amazing how quickly the tides can turn in a conflict like that.
Totally. One moment the Americans seemed poised for a major victory, and then suddenly the British managed to turn things around.
Exactly. History is full of those kinds of dramatic twists and turns.
For sure. It's always fascinating to dive into the details and understand how it all unfolded.
Lesson 19: Capturing Candid Moments.
Hey Anna, I wanted to chat with you about my new hobby, street photography.
Oh, that's really interesting. I've always been curious about that. What drew you to it?
Well, I just find there's something so captivating about capturing those unguarded, candid moments.
I can imagine. The spontaneity and rawness of street life must make for some incredible shots.
Exactly. I love being able to freeze these little slices of everyday life that most people overlook.
That's such a cool perspective. What kind of things do you typically try to shoot?
All sorts of things, people going about their day, interesting architectural details, quirky interactions.
Wow, that sounds like it would make for a really eclectic and visually striking portfolio.
It definitely does. I've managed to capture some really unique and surprising moments.
I'd love to see some of your work sometime if you're open to sharing. Street photography fascinates me.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to show you. I'm always eager to get feedback and different perspectives.
Wonderful, I can't wait. It must be such a fulfilling creative outlet.
It really is. There's just something so energizing about being out there in the urban landscape.
I can imagine. The thrill of finding that perfect fleeting moment to immortalize.
Exactly. It's like a puzzle I'm constantly trying to solve, anticipating the right shot.
I bet that keeps your mind really engaged and your eyes constantly scanning your surroundings.
Definitely. It's a great way to stay present and observant of the world around me.
I can see the appeal. Street photography seems like such a cool way to document the vibrancy of city life.
Totally. It's a passion I've really come to enjoy. I'm glad I was able to share it with you.
Lesson 20: Navigating a new job.
Morning, Anna. Can I pick your brain about something?
Of course, what's on your mind?
Well, I just started a new job this month and I'm feeling a bit nervous.
Oh, I understand. Starting a new job can definitely be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I want to make a good impression, but I'm not sure what to expect.
No need to worry, I'd be happy to share some tips that might help you out.
That would be amazing. I could really use the advice.
Okay, well, first of all, be patient with yourself as you get settled in.
That's a good point. It's going to take time to learn the ropes, isn't it?
Exactly. Don't be too hard on yourself in the beginning. Give it a few weeks.
That makes sense. And what else would you recommend?
Well, try to be proactive about introducing yourself to your new colleagues.
Good idea. Networking and building those relationships early on is key.
Definitely. And don't be afraid to ask questions if you're unsure about anything.
Right, I'll need to make sure I understand all the processes and procedures.
Absolutely. The more you can learn up front, the better you'll be able to perform.
That's really helpful, Anna. I feel a bit more prepared now.
I'm glad I could provide some useful perspective. Just remember to stay positive.
You're right, a positive attitude will go a long way. I appreciate you taking the time.
Of course, that's what friends are for. I'm sure you're going to do great in the new role.
Thanks, I'm feeling more confident already. Excited to see what the future holds.